Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a story that is just incredibly heartwarming and honestly a little bit magical. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to be following a tiny protagonist named Puffy. Now, Puffy happens to be a little cloud, but trust me, this isn't your standard weather report. We're looking at the tale of the little cloud who lost his rainbow. Before we really get going, I want you to think about something. Have you ever felt like you just lost your sparkle? Like your mojo is totally gone? It's a pretty heavy, universal feeling, right? Well, that's exactly where we find our guy, Puffy. High above this super happy town called Willowville, all the other clouds are shining with these beautiful, brilliant colors after the rain. But Puffy, he's just gray. He's gloomy. His rainbow is completely missing, and he has absolutely no idea where it went. He's honestly starting to think, man, maybe I'm just a boring cloud. And what makes it worse is that down below in Willowville, everything is just bursting with life. Picture this. Kites are dancing in the breeze. Birds are belting out songs every morning. Kids are laughing, and even the sun somehow looks extra shiny. It's literally the picture-perfect happy town. But floating right above all of that joy is little Puffy. Totally gray, totally bummed out. The whole world below him is so vibrant, which honestly just makes his missing rainbow feel that much more tragic. So Puffy is just wallowing, feeling absolute rock bottom, when enter Pico. Pico is this tiny, yellow firecracker of a bird who just lands right on him. He immediately sees that Puffy is having a rough day and asks what's up. When Puffy whispers his sad little secret, Pico literally puffs out his tiny bird chest and gasps, "Your rainbow? That's terrible." And right then and there, Pico decides there is no way they're just going to sit around moping. They are going on a grand adventure to find it. It's the ultimate call to action, and it brings this huge jolt of energy into Puffy's very dreary day. They kick off their magical quest right away. And they aren't just wandering around hoping for the best. They actually map out a route through this completely enchanted world. Starting way up in the skies above Willowville, they decide to venture down into the mysterious Forest of Whispers with the ultimate goal of reaching the Crystal River. So let's tag along and see where this takes them. Their first big stop is the Forest of Whispers. And guys, this is definitely not your average hiking trail. We're talking about trees that can actually hold a conversation and leaves that literally giggle out loud when the wind hits them. The whole place is practically buzzing with magic. Puffy, being super polite, goes around asking if anyone happens to have seen his rainbow. And from way deep in the woods, this massive old tree with a really long curly branch slowly opens one eye. In this deep, rumbly voice, it tells them it saw colors dancing over by the Crystal River. Pico obviously loses his mind with excitement. He's 100% sure they've cracked the case. So they hustle over to the Crystal River and wow, the scene is just breathtaking. The water is sparkling like actual diamonds. You got fish jumping around, and there are these tiny frogs singing silly little songs on the banks. But the biggest thing? Puffy looks around and sees colors everywhere. Brilliant blues, greens, yellows, pinks. It feels like they hit the jackpot. But as he looks closer, despite all those gorgeous swirling colors, his own specific rainbow just isn't there. You can practically see his heart sink. He sighs, completely defeated, convinced he's never getting his colors back. Right when he's ready to give up, this old, wise turtle slowly pokes his head out of the sparkling water. And he drops this absolute gem of wisdom on Puffy. He says, rainbows are not just found. Sometimes they are shared. He basically tells Puffy that he's been going about this completely wrong. He's been looking in the wrong places entirely. Now, if you're Puffy, you're probably thinking, what does that even mean? He blinks, totally confused. Because really, how in the world do you share a rainbow that you don't even have anymore? It's a huge turning point in our explainer, and I want you to hold on to that thought. Because before the turtle can even try to explain that cryptic little riddle, things in Willowville take a massive turn. Boom, out of nowhere, thunder shakes the sky. The whole vibe of the story just flips instantly. These heavy, dark storm clouds aggressively roll into that beautiful sky. The wind starts howling. Those magical trees in the forest are now violently thrashing around in the gale. All the animals are scrambling, just trying to get to safety. But down on the ground, there's a little rabbit who is totally trapped on this tiny exposed hill. Pico spots him and yells, "Oh no!" The poor rabbit is completely alone, terrified, and just shivering in the middle of this absolute downpour. And this is where Puffy truly steps up. In a moment of pure, raw courage, he sees that terrified rabbit. Now, remember, Puffy is just a little cloud, and he's super scared of this storm too. But he makes a choice. He intentionally floats lower, thinking, I can do something about this. and he basically turns himself into a giant fluffy umbrella. He takes the absolute brunt of the freezing rain himself, covering the rabbit, while brave little Pico helps guide the rabbit safely all the way back home. It's just a remarkably beautiful moment of selfless sacrifice. And then, finally, the storm breaks. It passes. Golden sunlight starts to peek through the heavy clouds, and the sky fills with this gorgeous, shimmering light. And the best part? Right behind Puffy, this massive, glowing, undeniably magical rainbow just bursts into the sky. Puffy gasps. He's just overflowing with joyful relief. "My rainbow," he yells. His colors are back. Down in the river, that wise old turtle just smiles up at him. "Your rainbow returns whenever you bring kindness to others," he says. You see? Getting those colors back wasn't just some lucky break in the weather. It was magically, directly tied to Puffy putting someone else first. It was the physical result of his bravery during that terrifying storm. Which brings us to the absolute core takeaway of our whole explainer today. Here it is. Kindness is what makes us shine the brightest. Puffy's eyes lit up because it suddenly clicked. He hadn't actually lost his rainbow at all. He had just forgotten how to shine. And from that day forward, whenever rain poured over Willowville, the kids would look up, knowing Puffy was on duty. He never felt gray again, because he finally understood that his beautiful colors would always light up the world right after a storm. So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this really impactful question to mull over. Even after the darkest storm, how will you share your rainbow today? Because just like Puffy learned on his crazy adventure with Pico, the brightness we bring to the world doesn't come from how we look. It comes from how we treat the people who could really use a fluffy umbrella when the rain starts pouring. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it sparked something in you to go out and share a bit of your own rainbow today. Keep shining, and I'll catch you next time.